A sharp flick, then the low hiss of a cigarette catching fire. Julian Vance leaned against the wall, a plume of smoke curling from his lips. His chiseled face was a play of shadow and light in the glow of the ember, exuding a languid grace that seemed to belong to another era. From his hiding spot behind a humming vending machine, Leo Miller watched, utterly captivated. A soft chime sounded, and Julian pulled out his phone. He studied the screen for a moment, a slow smile spreading across his lips. He murmured something too low to hear, a phrase that sounded like timid little thing, his voice a deep, resonant hum that coiled in the smoky air. A pang of jealousy, sharp and bitter, shot through Leo. He envied the person who had received that message, envied the subject of that gentle affection. Julian seemed to have finished his moment of repose. He straightened his tall frame, and Leo instinctively shrank back, pressing himself against the cool metal of the machine. But Julian only answered a call, confirming a meeting at a place called Elysian for the next day. He then crushed the cigarette against the wall and tossed the butt into a nearby trash can. As quietly as he had appeared, he was gone. Elysian. Leo crept out from his hiding place. The air still held the faint, crisp scent of mint from Julian's cigarette. He breathed it in, a flush rising to his cheeks. After a furtive glance around to ensure he was alone, his heart hammered against his ribs as he reached into the bin and retrieved the discarded filter. It was chewed, flattened by pressure. Leo had read somewhere that men who chewed on their cigarettes were suppressing some deep-seated desire. He wondered what a man like Julian Vance, the young and powerful head of Vance Corporation, could possibly desire that he couldn't have. He didn't dare linger. Turning to leave, he froze at the door. From this new angle, he could see the entire space beneath the vending machine. Had Julian seen his worn sneakers peeking out from behind it? The thought sent a jolt of panic through him. But then he reasoned that in the 6 months he'd been doing this, Julian had never once noticed him. The tension drained away, replaced by a quiet thrill. It all stemmed from a peculiar affliction. If Leo went more than a week without seeing him, an unbearable ache would start deep in his bones. For half a year, he had been a shadow, observing Julian's elegant silhouette from the dark corners of the university campus. Opportunities like this were rare. Julian had graduated 3 years ahead of him and was only on campus today representing his company at a donation ceremony. It was the closest Leo had ever been, close enough to almost catch the subtle fragrance of his cologne. The walk back to his dorm was a mix of giddy excitement and the nervous energy of someone who had just committed a crime. He had the cigarette butt. The thought made his steps lighter. A voice called out his name, stopping him. Leo looked up to see Kai Sterling, a smirk playing on his lips, with Caleb Thorne standing beside him, looking distinctly uncomfortable. Leo considered pretending not to hear, but Kai was too fast, slinging a heavy arm over his shoulders. Kai's tone was the same roguish drawl it always was, asking where Caleb's little shadow had been lately. He gave Leo's ear a playful pinch, inquiring what had him looking so pleased, and why the smile vanished the moment he saw them. Leo hadn't even realized he was smiling. He struggled against Kai's hold. Caleb's brow was furrowed, and he told Kai to let him go. With an exaggerated sigh, Kai released him, proclaiming he wouldn't touch Caleb's little wifey. Leo immediately darted away, but Caleb caught his arm, pulling him back. Caleb leaned in, his expression turning serious as he sniffed the air around Leo. He asked where he'd been, why he smelled so strongly of mint. Being this close to Caleb after so long was jarring. Leo instinctively flinched away. Caleb froze for a second, his posture stiffening, the warmth in his expression cooling to ice. Before Leo could explain, Kai let out a theatrical laugh, asking if Caleb was always this strict with his family. Caleb immediately dropped Leo's arm. His voice clipped. He told Kai not to joke around, stating that Leo was just the son of his family's driver. He added that his interest lay with girls like Victoria, girls from good, respectable families. Their voices faded as they walked away. Leo stood frozen for a moment before his hand found the cigarette but in his pocket. The feel of it seemed to dull the sting of Caleb's words. It was true. Caleb was the heir to the Thorne fortune, a prominent family in the city, while Leo was the son of their housekeeper and chauffeur. His parents served the elders. He had grown up alongside the heir. The Thorne family's resources had allowed him to attend the same elite schools as Caleb, all the way to this university. They had been inseparable before their junior year of high school. Then Caleb had found Leo kissing a photograph of him. The disgust in Caleb's voice that night had been a physical blow. He had slammed the door and spent the week at Kai's house. After that, Kai's teasing nickname for him had stuck. Caleb, who was already deeply uncomfortable with such things, grew colder and more distant. Leo had eventually moved out of the Thorne estate and into the dorms. He had intended to go to a different university, but Caleb's mother had insisted he continue to stay near her son. Caleb hadn't objected. To avoid him, Leo chose a different major, in a building on the far side of campus. He rarely saw him, except when Kai would corner him for a bit of fun. But now there was Julian. His heart began to beat faster. After an agonizingly long day, Leo put on a baseball cap and a mask and went to Elysian, the city's largest nightclub. The place was a chaotic sea of bodies and sound. He found an inconspicuous corner, wondering where Julian could be. Suddenly, the crowd roared as the DJ took the stage. Through the flashing lights and writhing figures, he thought he saw him. Julian was in a booth not far away, dressed in a tailored suit. His handsome features stark and compelling in the dim, colored light. Leo took a deep breath and began to push his way through the crowd. He felt a hot, hard body press against his back and a man's hand slide onto his waist. The man's breath was hot on his ear as he whispered a crude invitation. Leo tried to shrug him off, not wanting to cause a scene so close to Julian. But the man was large and persistent. Frustrated, Leo caught a glimpse of Julian looking in their direction. Before he could be sure, Julian stood and walked toward a less crowded area. Panicked, Leo drove his elbow sharply into the man behind him. A pained yelp was all he needed. He squeezed through the throng, but Julian was gone. Dejected, he was about to give up when he caught that familiar scent of mint. He followed it like a breadcrumb trail up to the second floor. A man in a black suit guarding the entrance didn't stop him as he slipped past. The second floor was a stark contrast to the chaos below, eerily quiet. Around a corner, he saw the sign for the men's restroom. Faint sounds came from within. His throat tightened as he peered inside. It was Julian. He was standing before the mirror, the top two buttons of his shirt undone. The harsh overhead light carved his features into a mask of cool indifference. Julian's eyes flicked up, meeting Leo's reflection in the mirror for a fraction of a second. Leo yanked his head back, his heart pounding a deafening rhythm. After what felt like an eternity, Julian emerged. He walked right past Leo's hiding spot without a glance, his leather shoes making a steady, elegant rhythm on the stone floor. Once the sound faded, Leo crept into the restroom. Sitting on the marble countertop by the sink was a man's wristwatch. A moment later, Leo was huddled in a stall, clutching the watch, breathing in its scent. It smelled of whiskey and faintly of Julian's cologne. Holding this personal item, this piece of him, sent a tremor of euphoria through his body. The metal band dug into his palm, bringing him back to his senses. He knew he had to put it back. He left the stall, but hesitated, his hand hovering over the counter. An opportunity like this, Julian forgetting his watch after washing his hands, would never happen again. He splashed cold water on his face and looked at his reflection. His hair was a mess, his face was pale, and he looked like something that belonged in the shadows. A wave of self-loathing washed over him. He bent over the sink, pressing his nose against the watch face, silently repeating Julian's name like a mantra until his racing heart calmed. He took a deep breath and straightened up, only to freeze. In the mirror, leaning against the doorframe behind him, was Julian. He was watching Leo, his expression unreadable. He had been there for an unknown amount of time. Panic seized Leo. His face went white. The watch in his hand suddenly felt like a piece of damning evidence. If Julian knew the truth, that someone had been obsessing over him from the shadows, he would be disgusted. He would banish Leo from his world. The thought made him tremble. He covered his face, trying to shrink away, repeating a silent plea for Julian not to look at him. The sound of Julian's shoes on the floor was agonizingly slow. He stopped directly in front of Leo. Leo's legs gave out and he slid down the wall. Through the haze of his fear, he thought he heard a soft chuckle. An arm snaked around his waist, stopping his descent. In one smooth motion, Julian lifted him and sat him on the countertop. Before Leo could react, Julian's other hand cupped the back of his head, holding him steady. Two long fingers probed into his mouth. Leo's tongue instinctively darted out to meet them. Julian made a soft sound of disapproval and used his thumb to pry Leo's jaw open wider. The familiar scent of mint and something uniquely Julian filled his senses, and he slowly relaxed, his tongue gently tracing the intruding fingers. A moment later, Julian withdrew his hand. As he did, his knuckles brushed against the roof of Leo's mouth, leaving a trail of tingling numbness. Leo sat there, dazed, as Julian took out a silk handkerchief and methodically wiped his fingers. Only then did he look down at Leo, a thoughtful expression on his face. He noted that Leo's lip was bleeding, bitten through in his fear. With a hint of a smile, he asked if he had hurt him. Leo touched his lip and tasted salt. Julian hadn't even done anything. He had hurt himself. Julian then seemed to notice the watch in Leo's hand for the first time. He said he had been looking for it, relieved that Leo had found it. He unbuttoned his cuff and asked if Leo would mind helping him put it on. His forearm, exposed as he rolled up his sleeve, was corded with muscle. Leo, finally understanding, stammered that he had just found a watch and was examining it. The stone of fear in his stomach dissolved. But then he became aware of their proximity, and a hot blush crept up his neck. He jumped off the counter, head bowed, and tried to leave. But Julian's body was blocking the doorway. Leo hesitated, then mumbled a request for him to move. Julian simply raised an eyebrow, leaning back against the wall. He took out a fresh cigarette but didn't light it, chewing on the filter as he watched Leo's growing distress. After a long moment, Julian finally straightened up and stepped aside. As Leo rushed past, Julian's voice, smooth and low, stopped him. He asked if Leo wanted to exchange numbers, explaining that he was truly grateful for the return of his favorite watch. Walking away from the club, Leo felt like he was floating. He had Julian Vance's number. He was so lost in thought that he didn't notice Kai until he grabbed his wrist. Kai's expression was a mixture of surprise and suspicion. He asked what Leo was doing at a club alone. He then noticed Leo's face, his eyes narrowing. He demanded to know what happened to Leo's chin and why his lip was split. A voice from behind them, cool and amused, remarked that it sounded as if Kai was talking about him. Leo turned to see Julian descending the stairs. Seeing Leo with Kai, Julian's eyebrows arched. He commented that perhaps his timing was poor. Kai's body tensed, but he quickly recovered, draping his arm around Leo with his usual carefree grin. He told Julian they were just messing around. Julian's gaze drifted to Leo's face, a slow, appreciative smile forming. After a moment, he said that Leo had been biting so hard, he'd had to be a little rough. The smile on Kai's face froze. Julian, feigning ignorance, turned to Leo and asked if it was serious, offering to take him to get some medication. Leo, completely mesmerized by Julian's rare smile, was about to agree when Kai tightened his grip. Kai said that Caleb had just messaged. His grandmother had been asking why Leo hadn't visited. He reminded Leo they had plans to go back together tomorrow. Leo checked his phone and saw a notification from Caleb at the top of his screen. It was true. He had been avoiding the Thorn estate for a while, and Caleb's grandmother had always been kind to him. He nodded. Julian, who had glanced at Leo's phone screen, said nothing more. His smile faded as he stepped back, allowing them to pass. As Kai guided him away, Leo glanced back. Julian was standing in the shadows, his expression unreadable, watching them leave. A sudden, inexplicable chill ran down Leo's spine. The moment they were outside, Kai's demeanor changed. He demanded to know when Leo had gotten to know Julian. Leo, annoyed, told him it was none of his business. Kai's response was a cold laugh as he pinned Leo against a wall, his eyes glinting. He said that after all the years of Leo's single-minded devotion to Caleb, he couldn't understand the sudden shift. He reminded Leo of a time when he'd pulled him from the family pool after Caleb had just stood by. Leo retorted that Kai had been the one to push him in. The history between them was long and complicated. Kai had always taken a cruel sort of pleasure in tormenting Leo, from stuffing caterpillars down his shirt to faking a love letter that had led to Leo's first heartbreak. Caleb had always been the one to intervene, the stoic protector. That was why Leo had followed him so loyally for years. Kai's expression softened slightly, a strange look in his eyes. He asked Leo whether his heart belonged to Caleb or to Julian Vance now. The question brought back the sting of Caleb's rejection 3 years ago. Leo silently chanted Julian's name until the ache subsided. He told Kai to let Caleb know that he wouldn't bother him anymore. To his surprise, Kai's smile widened. He looked past Leo, a flicker of cruel excitement in his eyes. Kai then broke the silence, clapping Caleb on the shoulder as he appeared behind Leo. He congratulated Caleb, telling him he was now free to pursue Victoria without any complications. Caleb's family had long believed Leo was a sort of good luck charm for him, a superstition born from Caleb's recovery from a childhood illness shortly after Leo came to live with them. This belief had bound them together, much to Caleb's resentment. Now, hearing Leo's declaration, Caleb's voice was strained. He demanded to know why Leo could simply turn his affection on and off, calling his feelings cheap. Leo, his eyes stinging, could only apologize. He told Caleb he would go with him to visit his grandmother the next day, then turned to leave. Caleb called his name. Leo paused and offered a small, sad smile, reassuring him that he wouldn't cause any more trouble. He told Caleb that he was free. In Kai's car, Leo leaned his head against the window, a strange sense of emptiness settling over him. It wasn't grief, but a quiet mourning for a decade-long friendship. Kai remarked that he must really be over Caleb if he wasn't even crying. As they pulled up to the dorm, Kai's expression grew serious. He advised Leo to be careful with Julian Vance. Him that Julian was not a good man before ruffling his hair and driving off. Julian, true to his word, invited Leo to dinner. He was surprisingly quiet, his texts brief. Leo arrived at the restaurant early. When Julian walked in, he placed a small gift box on the table. It was a watch almost identical to his own. Julian noticed him staring at it and asked if he needed help putting it on. He then apologized, explaining that he had a condition, haphophobia, a fear of touch, and had to wear gloves to avoid contact. But Leo remembered the restroom. When Julian's bare hands he blushed and said it was fine. Just as he reached for Julian's offered wrist, his phone buzzed. It was Kai, reminding him it was Caleb's birthday. Leo had completely forgotten. He felt a surge of guilt. Julian's hand retreated, his expression unreadable. He told Leo that if he had something more important to do, he should go. The disappointment was crushing, but he reasoned that Caleb probably wouldn't want his gift anyway. He decided to stay. After dinner, they went to a movie. Julian reminded him to turn off his phone, which had been buzzing with missed calls, several from Caleb. During the end series, Leo turned and found Julian watching him, his eyes intense in the flickering light. The usual cool composure was gone, replaced by something predatory and dangerous. The moment passed as Julian stood up, his expression once again calm and unruffled. Back at the dorm, he found Caleb waiting for him. Caleb's voice was hoarse as he asked why Leo hadn't given him a gift. Leo admitted he forgot. Caleb's disbelief was stark. He insisted that Leo owed him a gift. For the first time, spurred by the memory of his past humiliation, Leo refused. Caleb's face hardened, and he left without another word. Moments later, a message from Julian appeared. A photo of his arm, wearing the new watch, resting on a powerfully built thigh clad in suit trousers. Leo immediately set it as his phone's wallpaper. Their relationship blossomed. Texts became calls, calls became video chats. Julian was a master at conversation, always knowing how to draw Leo out. He began rewarding Leo's messages with pictures. A plant on his office desk, a cushion in his lounge, and occasionally, glimpses of himself. He would murmur Leo's name, his voice a low caress that left Leo breathless. One afternoon, while on a call with Julian, Kai barged into his dorm room. He teased Leo, snatching the phone. In a deliberately loud voice, he remarked that he was surprised to hear Julian's voice, since Leo had been in love with Caleb for so many years. Leo snatched the phone back, but it was too late. Julian had already hung up. Leo was on the verge of tears when there was a knock on the door. It was Julian. He said his mood was off and asked if he could see him. Overwhelmed, Leo threw the door open and launched himself into Julian's arms, burying his face in his chest. Julian's arms closed around him, and he pressed a soft kiss to Leo's forehead. He confessed that he had feelings for Leo and asked if he wanted to be with him. Leo moved into Julian's apartment. The days that followed were a blur of intoxicating discovery, exploring every part of Julian's world. When he saw Caleb again, it was at a restaurant. Caleb confronted him, claiming Kai had lied about him throwing away Leo's gifts. He said they had both been played by Kai. Then, Caleb's gaze fell to Leo's collarbone, and his voice trembled as he asked what the mark there was. The door opened, and Julian walked in with a plate of fruit. He smiled, saying he was worried and couldn't wait. He fed Leo a cherry, then his eyes flicked to the mark on Leo's skin. He calmly stated that he had done it. Caleb lunged, his fist connecting with Julian's face. Julian took the hit and several more without retaliating. Seeing the blood on Julian's lip, Leo, in a fit of rage, slapped Caleb across the face. Caleb stared at him, his expression shattered. He asked how Leo could hit him for another man. Leo rushed to Julian's side. Caleb pleaded with him to leave with him, promising to forget everything. But Leo shook him off, his voice cold as he told Caleb to apologize to Julian or he would call the police. He told Caleb what he'd said to Kai, that he hadn't loved him for over 6 months. He was with Julian now. Shattered, Caleb left. Later, Julian held Leo close. He admitted he could have dodged the punches. He said he wanted to see, after all those years, if Leo's heart would still be with Caleb. He added that he'd never worried about Kai. After all, even a fox is just a fox. And for something as precious as Leo, he knew there would always be rivals.